Welcome to our weekly Badass Business Bites. I'm so excited you're here. We're going to be talking all about Shopify's Online Store 2.0, and I have a demo for you. I know we have a lot of new faces here, so if we've never met, my name is Jessica, and I am an e-commerce and email marketing strategist for scrappy entrepreneurs. I'm also host of the eCommerce Badassery Podcast, which this week's episode, I talked all about Shopify's Online Store 2.0. But it's kind of hard to explain that stuff over audio. So I wanted to pop in here today and give you a demo. So quickly, and just to kind of recap. So during Shopify Unite, which is an event for developers, Shopify announced this new online store 2.0, which is completely changing the way you customize your site. It also changes the way you're going to start working with apps and gives you access to metafields that you can use on the front end of your store, which I'm going to show you as well. So let's pop right on into Shopify. Let me get into the editor here and let's add this to the stream. All right, so what you're looking at right now is in the theme customizer. So this is when you are in Shopify. You go to online store, you go to themes, and you go to customize. If you are an existing business, you will not see this yet, but it is coming. If you start a store, I think it's after June 29th or June 30th, you will have the Dawn theme by default, and this is what you will see. So as you can see, it's pretty similar. I'm on a product right now. Let me go into the homepage here. It's pretty similar, but when you look over on this left-hand side, you have this tree, right, of all the different fields, and you can add blocks in here. And usually, in most cases, if you were to go to your product page, for example, you wouldn't see all of this information, right? But now we have way more flexibility in what our product pages and really all the pages on our website can look like. They're all modular. It's amazing. I'm super excited for this. This has been a long, long time coming. So the one thing I do want to say is when this comes around, I don't want you to go crazy with customizing what your product pages look like. Take advantage of the extra features that you have, but don't go crazy changing the layout of your product page and things like that, because the consumer, right, is used to seeing product pages in a particular way. We don't want to confuse them. So I just want to make sure that I mentioned that to you. So let's just go back in here really quick so we can kind of see what this looks like. So here is your typical homepage. It has some placeholder content in it, right? When I come over here, I can add additional blocks to this banner, right? Like if we look at this little tree here, so you've got the image banner, then we've got the featured collection, and we have image with text. So you have separate sections and then blocks within those sections. Now, of course, there's going to be some limitations here. So if I don't want any text, I can just hide it and there's not going to be any text, or I can turn it back on. And that's specific to this banner. If I go into the featured collection here, not much that I can edit. Do know that this is Shopify's base theme. So this is the theme that other developers create their themes off of. So it's possible that they may build in additional functionality or edits that you can make that maybe aren't going to be in the Dawn theme, just like, the old Shopify default was debut, but you could buy other themes that had more functionality and customization. So it's going to be similar to that. All right. So if we go into this image with text section, you'll see that we also have some blocks that we can use. If we want to turn off a button, we can do that. Great. And then, of course, we can add sections. And this is where you're going to see, this is like more similar to what you're used to looking at. So you've got some different information that you can put in. Here's our column, all that good stuff. You can add columns and it'll readjust. And then you've got all these different sections. So this part is pretty much the same as what you're used to. You can pull in some blog posts. Whoa, that's my face really big. This is just a dummy site, so it doesn't have, a ton of content in it. But let's just hide that so we don't have to look at my face so large. So if we go into our products, because this is what really makes this so super cool, right? Everyone's used to that on the homepage, but you can do this on your other pages too. So when you navigate through on the top, now I'm on my product page, and you can see I have all these individual blocks that I could move if I wanted to. I don't necessarily recommend that we do this. Don't go too crazy with this, right? This is a simple item, so it doesn't have a variant, but if I wanted to move my description up, and I don't think this product has a description, but you could move it. And that's the kind of thing I want you to be a little bit careful with, because you could get a little crazy and start making it look weird, right? And we don't want to do that. But the other feature that's coming is the ability to manage metafields in the admin of Shopify. Now, if you listen to the podcast episode, you heard me talk about this. A lot of people don't even know what the fuck metafields are, right? But a lot of developers and apps and things like that are using metafields in the background. You just don't know that that is the case. But now you are going to be able to use them moving forward on your own. You're not going to need an app, and it is built in with the functionality of the theme. So I'm going to show you an example of how this works. So let me just get to my proper, yes. So here I am on, this is a simple product, right? So this is just a dummy product that I have in here. And you'll see on the bottom, it says metafields. So these are metafields that I created while I was testing, and we're going to use this care guide as the example. So on the product page, I want to be able to put how to care for that product without having to put it in the description, right? Because I don't want this big, long description that's hard for the customer to read, and it makes your page all wonky, right? So you have your photo on one side and the description on the other, and it just gets really, really long and crazy. So we want to avoid that. I want to have care on my product page, but I have a few different products, and that care is going to be different. So you can do this really easily with metafields. So you'll see I have, this is the simple product, and then I have a variant product as well. And you'll see too, I have care guide here, and the value is different. So this is variant product care, and then this is simple product care. So I want to show you how this all works. So on this page, I have, if I come over to my left-hand side and I'm looking at the product information specifically, you'll see I have this collapsible tab. That's what this is. So I can keep it closed, they open it, and they get the value in here. So I'm just going to delete this tab content real quick to show you what this looks like. So now I open it, I have no data. So I'm going to add the collapsible tab. I'm going to put in my heading, right? So care guide or product care, whatever it is that you want to call it, product care, and it's going to show up there. Then for the value, instead of putting a static value, right, that's on every single product, you see this little button right here, you can insert a dynamic source. So when I click that, it's going to show me all of the metafields that I have for product pages. I'm just going to click the care guide, insert it, and then it's going to dynamically pull the data from the individual store listing. So this is data you would have to have in the Shopify admin where you put your photos and your description and all of that stuff. But then when you come into your theme, you can just dynamically pull it in. So it's super, super cool. Let me know if you guys are kind of grasping that or if that's confusing. And then Facebook user asked, will the modifications for the product page apply to all product pages? We're going to talk about that in a second. So I just want to show you too, where is it? I lost my window. Here it is. So this is the screen for the metafields, which is where you would put them. So you can have metafields at the product level. You can have it at the individual variant level. And then we're also going to have it at the collection level coming soon. So if you have questions about that, go ahead and pop them into the chat. And I'm happy to kind of clarify if you need, but it seems pretty self-explanatory, right? It's super exciting. As you add metafields, they're going to show up down here on each individual product admin, right? So this is just where you're loading your product in Shopify. So you can use this for things like size guides, for care guide, for ingredients, right? If you have a beauty product, you probably have a big giant blurb for ingredients. How much easier would it be to put it in a meta field than to have it in the description that looks all crappy and hard to read? Sorry, I'm like losing all of my windows. So, okay, let's talk about the individual themes. Oh, Laura has a question. So for me, I could have 2 care guides, one for sterling silver and one for gold jewelry. Yes, exactly. So you would create a meta field that said how to care for your jewelry, for instance, and then that would automatically get added in the admin of every single one of your products. So you would go into the products that are sterling silver and put the sterling silver care in it, and then you would go to the ones that are gold and put the gold care in there. And then you just have that one place where you manage it all instead of having to put it in the product description. So that would work perfect for that, Laura. Okay, so let's talk about Facebook users' question. Will the modifications for the product page apply to all product pages? By default, yes, but it is now so much easier to create or to duplicate your product templates. You can do it right from the theme customizer. So if you guys didn't already know, you can right now today, even on the old builder, have different layouts for different products, right? You can have multiple versions of a product landing page, and then you assign it at the product level in the admin. But to do that, you would have to go into your theme code. You would have to copy the all the code, create a new template. And if you're not comfortable in code, it can feel really overwhelming and scary and like you're afraid you're going to screw something up. But with the new theme customizer, you can do it right from this window. So you'll be, let's say you want to create another product page. Here we're on our default product. Where did it go? Oh, here we go. So if I click into products, it's going to show me my default one. And then there are some others that I already created when I was testing this. So you're just going to see one. And a way you might want to use this is, I use this example on the podcast as well. If you have 6 handbags that you sell and every single one of them has different dimensions and different features, and you want to be able to, put sections under the product with big, beautiful imagery, things like that, you can create a separate template for every single one of your products so that you can insert different content. So all you would do is just create a template, and then you're going to name it. So this is just another template. Call it whatever you're doing, right? Maybe it's like a specific product name. So maybe I'm going to put product name in here. You don't get a lot of characters apparently. And then you're going to base it on one of your existing templates. So in general, you're going to base it off of this default one, but maybe you made a bunch of edits to another one and you want to actually base it off that. So you can do that as well. So we're just going to say base it off of the default one. You're going to create the template. And now you'll see I am in another product name. So it's telling me on the left-hand side here and on the top. So any edits I make to this page are only going to apply to products that I assign this template to. So let's add something funky in here so you can kind of see what this is. let's just put a collage. There we go. We'll put a collage in there. And we're just going to save this. And now I am going to go into, got too many windows open, guys. All right, so this is a simple product. On that product page, you can assign the template. I'm just going to refresh this because it's not showing it since I just created it. So now I'm going to come into the product that I want to assign, and here I go right there. So I'm going to assign this. I'm going to save. And now when I go to look at this product, so here you go. So now you can see that this product has this template. And if we go back to this other one with my big old face on it, oh, that didn't work. Come on. Why is it when you go live, nothing like works properly? And now this one has a completely different layout, right? It doesn't have that collage created. Okay, so Facebook user, I hope you caught that. So it's going to be way easier to do this than it has been in the past, which is super, super exciting. So let me know, can you see it's like, whoo, it's hot in here. I'm going to turn on the air conditioner, and I apologize if it's really loud, but your girl's a little warm in here. So who's excited? Let me know if you're excited about this. I certainly am. It's going to be awesome. So here's the other thing I want you guys to remember is this is not available to all Shopify stores yet. It's going to be rolling out over the next couple of months. It's a big change, right? It's going to take some time to set up, especially if you're going to be using metafields and you're going to get all caught up in the builder and all the different things that you can do. But Q4 is around the corner, friend. So I would rather see you really focus on preparing and selling through Q4 and save this project for next year. Facebook user says, me, I currently pay for an app to do something similar to metafields. Yes, exactly. So if you think about if you're using page builders, right, you're going to be able to let go of those. If you're using apps for metafields, you're not going to need those anymore. It's really, really exciting. There's another thing. I'll reshare my screen here. How do I put it back in? Okay, there we go. So on here, let me change this layout. Okay, cool. So Laura says, I am excited. I'm using the debut theme for now. I had planned to update my theme next year. Perfect, right? And so you'll just kind of go right into using Dawn, or when the theme developers release new themes based on this base theme, Dawn. So if you use archetype, which is impulse, motion, streamline, they have another new one. But if you're on one of those three, they're saying that the new theme will be available come August, early August. So if the functionality is rolled out to all Shopify stores and you have a separate team of people who can do this for you and it's not going to interrupt your day-to-day, awesome, do it. But if it's just you or you have a really small team, it's probably not the right time. Unless, of course, you haven't launched yet. That's different. I will say, and I don't totally understand all of the tech stuff, but I took this Dawn theme from this new development store that I created. I exported the theme and imported it into an existing dev store that I had, and it didn't work. It didn't understand the functionality. So I think there's something Shopify has to do on their, in the back end to make existing stores compatible with this new layout. So I can't really show you an example of this, but I did in the show notes of the podcast, I linked to the portion of Shopify Unite where it talks about this. But when you go to add a section, if you have apps that are installed that are compatible with theme app extensions, you're going to be able to add them right from here. So, sometimes when you'll add an app to your Shopify store and it installs most of it on its own, but then you maybe have to go copy and paste some of the code into your theme and all of that. You're not going to have to do that. You're going to be able to install it right from in here. And the example that they showed on Shopify Unite was for a review app. They just announced all of this June 29th, so it's going to be a while. The app developers have to update their apps to be compatible, so it's going to be a minute. But moving forward, once that's all implemented, it's going to be way easier to add apps to your store. And right now, when you delete an app, it doesn't always delete, right, all of the code in your back end. And so you end up with all of this unused code. Well, because they're going to be going through the theme, it's going to be a lot easier to remove them because it's not going to be in that hard code of your website. It's just going to be an extension on the theme itself. And then they're also going to have checkout app extensions. So you will be able to install apps on checkout where you can do cross-sells and a bunch of other cool stuff. So that's not rolled out yet, but it is coming. What they said in terms of Online Store 2.0 is going to be rolling out over the next few months. And I think they gave all of their developers a deadline of the end of the year, this year. So by 2022, this should all be fully in place. And that's why I say just wait until it's ready. Get excited, right? And then go pencil time in your January calendar to work on this. But I wouldn't recommend working on it right now. So that's going to be super cool. But I think, one of my favorite things is obviously the builder, doing the multiplying the templates. And you can do it with all of them too, right? You have your default collection, but you can create a new one. So lots of stuff that you can play around with. This is really great too, even at the collection level or the product level, if you're a multi-brand retailer and maybe you have, these small brands that you love to support, you can really build out their product pages to talk more about them and the founder and just give more visibility to those other brands too, which is super cool. And hint, if you can become a marketing tool for them, a place for people to really get to know that brand, and you do a really great job at presenting them, you might even be able to negotiate some better wholesale deals. Just saying, right? Versus someone who just sticks their product up but doesn't really do much to promote them or anything like that. Does anyone have any questions or anything that maybe you've heard of that you wanted me to show you? I showed you everything that is available right now. Laura says, this is great. I'll be ready for more functionality when a lot of this rolls out and settles down. Awesome. Yes. And that's the thing too, right? The Shopify Unite, anyone can go watch it, but it's really geared toward developers, not merchants. So I'm just giving you the early info. Whereas you're going to start hearing more and more about this. You're going to probably get notices from your existing theme when they roll out the new version, the apps that you're using when they roll out new versions. So you're going to hear more chatter about this for sure. And I'm really excited. The Dawn theme, if you were going to start a Shopify store right now, I know some people are on other platforms and maybe they've been thinking about moving to Shopify and now they see this and they're like, okay, yes, I'm definitely moving. If you were to get onto Shopify today, this is the theme you would have. It's a great place to start, but it is a smidge bare bones, right? It's kind of limited on what you can customize in terms of colors. When you have those premium themes, you get a lot more control. So as those premium theme developers create their new versions, like it's going to be really, really amazing and awesome. And I'm super freaking excited. So Corey asks, are theme developers going to update the existing themes we are using, or do you suspect they will just release new themes? No. So generally what happens is they just update the existing themes and you should not have to pay for them again. So really, like the theme itself, right? The theme is really just like the skin, and it has built-in functionality. So all they need to do is make some adjustments on their end so that it's compatible with this new, I'm pointing at the screen like you can see me, with this new builder. So no, you should not have to pay again, especially if you bought your theme through the Shopify theme store. If you got a third-party theme on some random website, no promises there, right? But if they are vetted and in the theme store, then yes. And they also announced that they are, I think on July 15th, Shopify is opening up the ability for developers to submit themes to the theme store. So we may see some new stuff coming as well. But the one thing that I would do to kind of prep for this, because I just went through this, my gosh, I've had a couple of clients who just upgraded their theme this year, right? Because all of your themes, by the way, those developers put out new versions. Now, I don't necessarily recommend that you upgrade every single time because it can be a lot of work, but I would always look at their release notes because a lot of the time, maybe there's a new functionality they added that you are currently using an app for, right? So you can get rid of the app and just use the existing one. And so I had a couple of clients, they haven't upgraded their theme in like 5 years. So we got them updated and it had all this new built-in functionality that they were using apps for. We were able to get rid of those. So what I would do is when this opens up, and you've got new functionality coming out, and you've got potentially new developers submitting themes to Shopify, is start kind of keeping track. Like, hey, what are the functionalities that I'm using an app for right now? I don't remember who it was. Someone said they were using an app to do something similar to the metafields. So like take note, maybe you're using an app to add filters or something like that. Take note of those things so that you know when you kind of go and do this upgrade that you can kind of get rid of that app, make sure you're using the in-theme built functionality. Laura asked, did you see any additional functionality with the Klaviyo platform? So they did make a couple new announcements. I did post it on my stories. So SMS is now available in Canada. What are the other things? I'm forgetting right now, but there's nothing super major as far as I remember. I'm gonna go look at the post right now. So we have SMS marketing. Oh yeah, so now if you've used SMS Bump in the past, then you've probably seen those two-step forms, right? Where someone puts in their phone number to sign up for SMS, they hit next, and then they have the opportunity to sign up for email. So Klaviyo has added mobile two-step forms to create a better sign-up experience. I haven't played with them yet, to be honest. They also added dynamic MMS, which means you can send photos through your SMS messaging. So let's see. Oh yeah, so you can add the items that were in their cart, like an actual photo of them. So that's cool. And then they also have something called Quick Start Forms, which just makes it easier to build forms. Like if you don't have to like start from scratch. So that's pretty simple. And then a reports library. This library houses recommended pre-built reports that give you quick access to your valuable data. So that's kind of cool, right? Instead of having to like go and build those custom reports, that they have this little library. Honestly, I haven't looked at any of this, so I'll take a peek And if there's anything like super cool or special, I'll let you guys know in the Facebook group. And that's, one of the reasons why I love Klaviyo, aside from the fact that it's really is, you get the most bang for your buck for e-commerce with it. Oh, I just realized you're still looking at my screen instead of my face. They're always upgrading and making it better. Like, there's really nothing worse than a stale piece of tech that, people are requesting stuff and it never gets updated. That's super frustrating. So that's why I really do love these two platforms. So if you have any other questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to let you get back to the rest of your day. I know if you're on the East Coast, you're probably wrapping your day up. It's just mid-afternoon for me here. But thank you so much for spending your time with me, because I know you could be anywhere on the internet. If you're watching the replay of this and you have additional questions, feel free to put them right in the comments here, and I will come back and answer them. To those of you who were here live, thank you, friends. And I hope you have a kick-ass rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys all soon. Bye.